Alright, hello everyone to another episode of Games Lost to the Ages. This will be the first episode in this series playing Super Conflict, where I'll be playing single player scenarios. As I demonstrated in the introduction video, I unlocked every level by using the unlock code, which I think is kind of like a programmer's debug kind of thing. I looked it up on the internet once. I explained how to do it in the introduction video, so if you want to know how to do that, go ahead and watch. But we're gonna, without further ado, launch this scenario. So, the way this game works, it's turn-based. It's similar to chess, kind of, where positioning of units is pretty much everything. The goal of the game is to protect your flag tank while trying to destroy theirs. This is a very simple scenario. There's no factories, no air units, no naval units. It's just simple ground units. I'm starting off with this one because I hated this scenario as a kid. Because if you look here, we get commando infantry, which have rockets that can fight tanks. We have very weak tanks, medium strength tanks. They have a similar setup. They actually have a weaker infantry unit, but they have the strongest tank unit for red in the game, which is substantially stronger than the, I call them medium tanks. I realize that T-62s and T-80s and M60s and M1A1s, they're all technically called main battle tanks, but for the purposes of this game, these are like tier 1, tier 2, and then M1s or T-80s are like tier 3 if you're going from weakest to strongest. So I simply just call these heavy tanks and these medium tanks and these light tanks. So again, I know that's not the real military terminology, but bear with me on that. Okay, so here's how that works. You select a unit, select a command, move, boom. That's the end of the move. Capturing cities, you capture them at the end of your turn. So we're just going to go ahead and deploy our tanks forward here. And put that one there. But yeah, the reason why I hated this scenario as a kid is because it was a head scratcher. How do I deal with the enemy T-80? I mean, it can just walk through all of my units. So there's a couple ways to deal with it. I'm going to play very aggressive. I'm much older now, much wiser. I kind of know how to deal with it. But imagine being a little kid, you're put at a huge disadvantage. This is a pretty disheartening mission, actually. So here we go. So this is what combat looks like. Little small animations. They shoot, we shoot, and we get blown up. It's actually kind of unfortunate we didn't hit them back there. The computer controls the game similar to how a person would, in that they kind of move their cursor over a unit, then move it, and everything. Alright, and it's our turn now. Okay, so, here we go. Again, so there's different terrains. Desert is actually, bridge is the absolute weakest. If you take a look at the stats, it gives you -10 on your defense there at the bottom. So imagine, an attack of 45 against a defense of 15, you're going to destroy it in one hit. It's the way the damage system works, I think, is it's kind of like a percentage, like a ratio, your strength against their defense kind of thing. To this day, I don't know exactly how it works. You'd almost have to, look at how the ROM is written. By the way, this is not an emulator. I don't play emulators. This is on the console. I have a capture device. To me, that's the way to play. I understand if you don't have a game and you just want to get an emulator, that's cool and everything. For me though, I like to play on the actual system. Saves me the trouble of downloading and so on. We're getting all beat up here. It's not good. Okay, so it took two light tanks, as I call them, to take down a medium tank. That's a general rule how this game kind of works. Usually equal strength units have to take at least... equal strength units might be able to destroy each other in one shot on deserts, we'll see. It's gonna be very close. Okay, got him. So that was a very fortuitous hit, especially considering that we didn't take any counter fire there. It shows the animation, but if they don't hit, then they don't hit. You can miss in this game. Again, I don't know exactly how the combat works. I have a general idea. You'll notice that we have maximum ammo of 12. After one attack, we're down to 10. So you usually, on offense, use 2 ammo to attack, unless you hit them so hard with your first shot that it only uses 1 ammo. I think the way it works internally is it goes for the attacker fires 1 point of ammo, the defender fires, and then the attacker fires again. So there, he fired twice at us with his 2 ammo points. We missed, so we didn't do any damage to him. If you notice though, I've just lured his T-80 into the desert, which has a negative terrain modifier. So this is going to play into my hands. As a kid, I guess I just wasn't wise enough to realize that's how you deal with the technology discrepancy. Commandos can hold their own against light tanks in this game. As you can see, they just destroyed my Sheridan. Sheridans, and for the red, T-55s are pitifully weak in this game. They're, in my opinion, almost useless. This game was made in the early 90s, so even in the early 90s, they were an old, outdated, obsolete technology. The technology, the blue uses American and red uses Russian. The commando units are generic. The tanks and airplanes are inspired by real-life units. So this is kind of like the equipment that combatants would have used in the early 90s, like say in the Persian Gulf War, which a lot of Super Nintendo games were based off of because it was culturally relevant. That war was fought just a few years before this game was released. So that's what the inspiration for this game is, I think. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is actually a sequel game, in that there's a game that's called Conflict on NES. I don't have it. I've never played it. From what I understand, it's actually quite different. Like, this game simplified combat and everything, but regardless, this game stands well on its own. You don't have to have any prior experience of playing the other game to get how to play this one. Questionable move on their part. again, so the flag tank is like the king of your army, like the chess piece king. Not king as in it's your strongest unit. It's actually one of your, in the early scenarios, it's your strongest unit. In later scenarios, it's one of your weaker ones. And until the very late game scenarios, you have to protect your flag tank to win. You have to protect your flag tank. It's the only way to avoid losing, and you have to destroy their flag tank to win. That's what I meant. You have to destroy theirs. In the final scenarios, there's a flag ship that you can go after as well. So as you can see, the computer is basically conceding here. We just wiped out all of his main attack force. And boom, done. So that's that scenario. Not as daunting as I remember as a kid, but I'm much older now, much wiser, have a lot more experience under my belt, so I figured I'd show that off. That's the basic gameplay, and each level adds more complexity to the game. So we'll see that in the coming episodes. So thank you for watching this, and I will see you in the next scenario. Just take care.